Good morning, I'm Judge Hayward. This is State Court of Clayton County, courtroom 304. This is for arraignment and jail calendar for February 11th. I'm going to call the arraignment calendar first, and then we'll determine where we're going to go with those cases. First case on the calendar is Rita Herrera Torres. Rita Herrera Torres.
Your Honor, she's in the courtroom. Good morning.
All right. Is the
And I did speak to the defendant already, Your Honor. We do have a negotiated plea on this case.
all right. Herrera Hello.
Your Honor,
And the connection is bad.
Okay.
It's your connection, Judge.
There, courtroom. All right. Can y'all hear me in the courtroom?
No.
What?
The connection is breaking up, Judge.
You can't hear me?
I can hear you now, but it's like spotty.
Oh, mine or
connection.
Okay.
Yeah, it's yours, Judge.
This a little bit better?
Yes.
Okay. Let me know if it goes wonky again, and I may have to switch channels. All right, so Ms. Herrera Torres, raise your right hand for me, ma'am. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true? Yes. Okay, come. You can put your hand down, ma'am. Come a little bit closer to the computer for me. All right, and so, ma'am, you have decided to represent yourself, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, all right, you're before the court on 2023 CR 00239 for no license and window tinting violation. It is my understanding you have an agreement with the state about a plea, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Ms. Hagler, what have you all agreed to for no license and window tinting?
Count one would be a fine of $500, and the state is going to NARPROS. Count two, and she does appear to be NOLO eligible.
All right. All right, so ma'am, you're eligible to use your NOLO, which means that this will not count against you for a suspension of your license should you choose to get one. It also means that you're not entering a plea of guilty, but that you're just not contesting the information that the state has that they might take to trial. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right, so by entering a plea of NOLO to count one and count two will be no pros, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And if you're not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things, ma'am?
Yes.
All right. Factual basis and I have the recommendation.
Yes, Your Honor. On or about October the 8th of 2021, while traveling on Highway 85 and Lake Ridge Parkway, Riverdale 30274, Clayton County, Officer Tiffany Sherwood, doing her patrol in that area, did observe the defendant's vehicle with extremely dark tint on the windows. Officer Sherwood did test the tint, which was 21%. Additionally, upon making contact with the defendant, and checking her ID through GCIC, the defendant did not have a valid driver's license, nor was ever in possession of one. At that time, the defendant, was charged. Your Honor, those are the facts of the case.
Right. So, ma'am, the fine is $500 for count one. It's $737.50 with the surcharges. Did you wish to pay that today, or do you need additional time to pay? I do see that you have a bond. So if you need time to get the bond refunded in order to add that to your payment, then I can give you up to 60 days to do that. Do you wish to do that?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to give you 60 days in which to pay before you leave the building. Go downstairs to the second floor. When you come back through the double doors, go to your left and you'll get to the traffic court window. You'll get your paperwork. You can take that over to the jail immediately today to get started on the process for getting your refund, okay? But you just have to have the fines and fees paid on that second floor at that window or online or by phone on or before the 60th day, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Don't forget to get your paperwork on the second floor.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Take care.
You too.
Your Honor,
All right, yes?
sorry to interrupt. Deputy had informed me, though, that one of our inmates is having a medical issue. That's Miss Yolanda Banks. And I believe Mr. Taylor is ready to go forward. That's a probation case. I'm not sure. It's a Mr. Carmichael case. I'm not sure if we were able to handle that first for that reason.
Is she able to handle the case with the medical issue?
Yes, Judge. I don't know the nature
All
of it,
right.
apparently. Just something that.
If y'all decide, yeah, that's fine. Let's skip to that now.
Okay, she's gonna, Deputy's gonna bring her out. Thank you, Judge.
Mr. Carmichael, you ready?
She's done 13 days. She says she's paid something.
She okay?
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, Mr. Carmichael.
Sorry for my tardiness.
Oh, no problem. We're calling an audible and we're doing Miss Banks now.
Got you.
Carmichael,
I-
just briefly, what is the sentence recommendation?
Actually, Mr. Taylor, if you can give me one moment, I will actually come down and speak with you directly, okay?
Okay, well, okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, this is
All
Ms.
righty.
This is Ms. Banks.
Ms. Banks?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so Mr. You're before the court for a revocation of probation.
Yes, ma'am.
1 second, I'm just trying to find the petition. I don't see it by your name. Oh, look for it under Mr. Carmichael.
Just walked into the
Give me 1 second, Your Honor. Unfortunately, I was in judge another courtroom at the moment, and kind of got
That's
set
okay.
back.
I don't see the one for Miss Banks though.
Just about to send it now.
Okay.
I think it's sets that.
All right.
Yes, it is 717, 946, 686, 886. Mhm.
Okay. Mr. Carmichael sending this now. Just refreshing to see if I can get it now.
This goes in there.
All right, Mr. Carmichael, I still don't have it.
Y'all coming through, Your Honor?
Did you send it? You just sent it?
I sent it 2 minutes ago. I'm resend it now.
Yeah, I'm updating, but it's not coming.
Gotcha. 1 second.
Let me see.
Mr. Carmichael, do you mind giving us the, uh,
Recommendation? Yes.
Yeah.
My, and I just resent it, Your Honor. Probation recommends to return back to probation.
what's the, balance?
The balance for the remaining balance?
The balance of the sentence, yes, or the remaining balance term.
Okay, I got it.
Got it. Yes, ma'am.
All right, so Miss Yolanda Banks, you're before the court on State of Georgia versus Yolanda Banks, 2021 CR 08817. You were before this court for driving on a suspended or revoked license on the 3rd day of May 2024, sentenced to 12 months to pay. You have 2 months and 21 days remaining, and it seems that you received a new driving under the suspension or revoked license on October 25th of 2025. All right, return to probation, was that the recommendation? And she's got 2 months. Ms. Banks, let me ask you this real quick. What's going on that you can't get this taken care of or that you can't get your license back?
Well, I was in the process of trying to get the SR 22A insurance and
Right,
I hadn't found a good quote, to tell you the truth. And I was going.
there are no good quotes, Ms. Banks. That insurance is expensive. It just is.
That's what I see. So now it is really my plan to get it and to get my license.
Okay, because you can't keep driving. You understand that, right? If you keep driving and keep getting caught, like you got a second one coming up. I don't know which one this was, but the third driving on a suspended or revoked license is $1,500, and that's without the surcharges. The fourth one, you go upstairs to Superior Court because it's a felony.
Yes, ma'am.
It's cheaper to get the insurance than to pay the.
Very much so. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And I know it's hard because people need their job, need to get to jobs and things, but you can't keep driving out here thinking that you won't get caught because you're going to get caught.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So what's the agreement, Mr. Taylor?
Well, if it's to return back to probation, for, release today, I will still
Yeah.
to the, we agree to the, recommendation.
All right. So, ma'am, you're going to have to pay the fines and fees. That's just it. You're on only probation. So really all you're here for is to pay the fines and fees. I'm going to put you back on probation, give you credit for time served, but you've got to get that done, okay?
Okay, so for 2.5 months, I owe how much? Does anyone know?
Mr. Carmichael?
That's going to be the balance of the probation fees. I think, the fines may have been paid.
The
Okay.
fine is, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Mr. Carmichael.
I about to say the fine itself is the remaining balance is 1,005. Supervision fees have all been paid off though, up until this point.
Okay, we're going to suspend the supervision fees and let
Okay.
everything go to fines.
Yes, Your Honor.
Next.
All right.
And Your Honor, if I may.
Yeah.
Can I give the Miss Banks her next appointment?
Go ahead.
Miss Banks, can you hear me okay?
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. So until we can get caught up on the payments, I'm gonna have you report in person. I'm gonna have you report on next Tuesday on the 18th, okay?
In person?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
In person?
Yes, in person,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay.
What time would you like?
MARTA bus runs right to the courthouse, so you can take MARTA.
Today's the 11th, so it's 8 days away. It'll be,
On Tuesday, that's good.
Is there a specific time you would like, Ms. Banks?
Earliest.
Earliest I have is 9 o'clock.
Yeah, no worries.
Yes,
9
ma'am.
o'clock. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Mr. Taylor, sorry.
All right, so that should conclude Ms. Banks. Thank you, Ms. Banks.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
Thank
So
you.
next on the arraignment calendar is Lakeisha Monet Diamond Miles.
Hello.
Hello?
Hi.
Hi, Ms.
Can you hear me?
Miles. Yes, I hear you. Somebody's got kids in the background.
I have a 6-month-old daughter. She's crying. She's in the
You wanna
living.
go get her?
If that's, she's probably still gonna cry, but yeah, if that's okay.
That's all right. We're not separating babies from their mamas. All right, so you're before the court for improper passing, suspended registration, and no tag or expired or invalid tag. This is a 2022 case, 2022 CR 06338. Ms. Hagler, is there, do you need her to show you anything?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Miles, do you have proof of valid registration today?
Well, that was for my Maryland car. Actually, I'm not driving right now because I stay at home. So I'm planning on getting fixed, but I'm not working. So I'm waiting for my taxes to hit. My birthday just passed in January. I still have like insurance and everything. I just didn't get around to renewing my registration yet. But I don't have the car.
Okay. So if you want to resolve your case today, for count 1, it will be a fine of $100. Plus restitution to the victim in this case. And then for counts 2 and 3, we can knock off that.
Okay, so what's the restitution? I'm sorry, that part got lost.
Yes, ma'am. Give me 1 second. I'm actually going through my documents now. $800 in restitution, Your Honor.
Okay, so Ms. Miles, what I would do is put you on 12 months, what's called pay only probation.
Okay.
And that would give you the opportunity to pay the fines and then the restitution. What I prioritize is the restitution. So we want to make sure that the other person is made whole first. So, and you would pay that through 12 months probation. If you paid it all and the fines and fees, then your probation would terminate as soon as you finish paying.
Okay.
Okay. So now I get that you're not working, but this is like you got 12 months to make it. Okay. Does she need like a teether or something, or is she hungry?
She got her shots yesterday. So she's fussy, yeah.
Okay. So just how miserable.
I know.
Yeah. Oh. So what that would mean is 12 months probation. You would pay the $800 restitution plus, and once you're done with that, then your probation would terminate.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to put you, first we're going to take the plea, and then I'm going to put you in a breakout room with probation intake. She'll explain everything you need to know about probation. Ask any questions that you have based on your current situation. So that
Okay. I think I did work the beginning of the year of last year. So I do have taxes coming. So I'll be able to pay it probably next month or after that.
Okay. Oh, is she hungry? You
No,
want to take a break? Because she is absolutely miserable.
I know. I think she just needs to go to sleep. Because I actually breastfeed, so I've been trying to breastfeed her while we were talking, and she doesn't want it. So I'm pretty sure
Okay, I
tired.
got you. Yeah, she's just mad. She said,
Yeah.
I'm not happy. I'm miserable. They gave me shots and I don't like it. And that's okay. All right. So, are you ready to go forward? Did you you understand everything and you're okay representing yourself? Is that okay?
Um. Yeah, I guess.
What do you mean, you guess?
Did I have an option? I didn't hear any other.
Yeah, I don't know
Okay.
that it's gonna change that much. There, you can have an attorney. The restitution is because that's the amount that the person is asking for, but you are always entitled to have a hearing if you have paid, if you have any dispute about what amount they're asking for, you can have a probation hearing if you want to do that. But yeah, I can get you an attorney if you want.
Okay. Does it will there be points on my license as well?
It is a moving violation. Now, I don't know if you have a NOLO eligible to use.
Mm-hmm.
If you enter a plea of guilty, there will be points. If you enter a plea of NOLO, it will not be points as long as you have the NOLO for the same or similar violation in the last 5 years.
Okay.
So did you want to use a NOLO?
Yeah. I did use a NOLA before.
You know how long ago that was?
Yeah, it was actually I think they happened around the same time. So it probably was like 2021. It wasn't for the same thing though.
What do you remember what you used a NOLO for?
I believe it was my license, my Maryland license was suspended when I first moved out here.
Yeah, you should be able to use it for a moving violation.
Okay.
All right.
If I'm able to use that, then I would just proceed today. I'm okay with representing myself.
Okay, so the NOLO to the count 1, which is improper passing, count 2 and 3 will be no cross. Raise your right hand for me if you can. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true.
Yes.
Okay, now you can mute and you'll hear us and I'll unmute you when you need. Okay. All right. So by entering a plea to improper passing of NOLO on case 2022 CR 06338, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And Ms. Miles, if you are not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things, ma'am?
I do.
All right. Factual basis and well, I've got the recommendation, but factual basis, please.
Yes, Your Honor. On or about August the 16th of 2022, Officer Kanisha, Kanisha Tharpe, Tharpe, was in the area of Terra Boulevard and Summerwind Drive, Jonesboro, Georgia, 30236, Clayton County, when she observed 2 cars pulled over near the Gore. Officer Tharpe stopped and made contact with the defendant and the victim, Nodal, N-O-D as in David, A-L, last name Valdez Espinoza. The victim and the defendant advised that they were both involved in a vehicle accident. During her investigation, Officer Tharpe checked the defendant's driver's license and tag via GCIC and NCIC. The defendant's information returned back stated that she had a active warrant at FTA for her failure to appear in Henry County. And the vehicle registration returned back as being suspended for the vehicle's registration. At that time, the defendant was issued citations. Your Honor, those are the facts of the case.
All right. All right. The fine is $100. The restitution would be $800. If you wish to have a hearing, I'll give you a hearing. But otherwise, if you just agree to the restitution, that the total that they're asking for is 800. So it's up to you.
I agree with the restitution.
All right, so I'll sentence you to 12 months probation. It's pay only probation, which means that as soon as you are finished paying the fines and fees and the restitution, your probation will terminate. The fine is $100, but it's $150 with the surcharges. The restitution would just be the $800, and you would pay that through probation. Miss Hagler, if you would text to Miss Izzy the information for the address for the payee, then we could get the restitution started. So what I'm going to do is, Ms. Miles, I'm going to put you in a breakout room with our probation expert, Ms. James. Ms. James is going to explain everything you need to know about probation. The quickest way to get rearrested is to not report. So you got to report while you're on probation, but please just keep your probation officer aware of what's going on if you have any difficulties so that they might be able to help you. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, now you'll see a pop-up for probation. You'll go into that breakout room. You do not have to come back here to the main room. Once you're finished and you have your information, then you go about your business and take care of your probation, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, I hope the baby feels better.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, at that 6-month point, not only is it shots, but they're starting to teeth too.
No.
All right, take care.
You as well.
The invitation will pop up right now. All right, so back to the arraignment calendar. That was Miles and Lamech Thomas. Lamech Thomas.
Yes, ma'am. I'm here representing.
Mr. Thomas, you're before the court for traffic violation, I think, which is usually a running a red light, driving on a suspended or revoked license, and no license. Did you need an attorney to assist you, or did you wish to represent yourself?
I represent myself, ma'am.
Okay. All right. 1 second, Mr. Thomas. I'm having trouble seeing you. Okay, there you are. All right. So did you wish to speak with the state? I'll hear from the state about what their recommendation is for the traffic violations.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Hagler?
Yes, Your Honor. For case ending in 04186, for count 1, the state's recommendation is a fine of $100. The defendant is no longer eligible, and the state will now cross counts 2 and 3.
Okay, and for the case 2024 CR 02581, he's represented by Lister Holton Dennis. All right, so Lister Holton Dennis, Mr. Thomas on the second case.
And Your Honor, for the court information, we actually are in the process of getting the correct police report for this event. So we're just still holding on that before we can actually, and then we'll have an announcement for that case.
All right, Mr. Taylor, they're waiting on, I guess, updated information for the obstruction case.
Yes, I don't have a police report. I reached out to Mr. Thomas online. Mr. Thomas,
Yeah.
did you see my text message?
No, sir. What did it say?
Well, basically just asking if you needed us to represent you on the second case, the traffic violation case, and don't say anything here, but just let me know.
Mr. Thomas?
We need to have a conversation about both cases, Your Honor.
Yeah, do I need, so I can put you in a breakout room at a later time, or do you have Mr. Thomas's correct phone number?
I don't know, Your Honor. I'd have to.
Mr. Thomas, have you been getting information from Mr. Taylor or Mr. Lynch?
No, ma'am.
No.
Okay, so Mr. Thomas, give me the last 4 of your phone number.
I just got the phone like 2 days ago, so I had to go into the phone and get it.
Okay, so you said you just got a new phone?
Yep.
Okay, so what I need you to do is, you know how to use the chat function on Zoom?
I was trying to figure it out, but I couldn't see how to do the process.
Okay, so Mr. Taylor or Mr. Lynch, can y'all chat him a test? And
I
then
have already, Your Honor. I
Okay,
sent a
so
message.
Mr. Thomas, you're looking for a red box with some with a white number in it.
Okay.
You see it?
No, man, hold on. One second, I was copying the number. All right,
That's
cool.
okay. Okay. So when you look on your screen, if you see something with a red box with a
Right.
white number in it, click on that.
Red box, white number.
Yeah.
And I think
Or-
it's either 2 or 3 because I've sent a couple of.
Okay, I see the messages, but if I text back, will it go like straight to you?
It will come.
Yeah, it's going straight to him. It's not going to everybody. That's
Okay.
why I asked him to send a test.
All right, I got you.
Yeah. So
So Your
that
Honor,
was exactly why.
Continue while I have a chance to talk with Mr. Thomas and
Okay. So Mr. Thomas, Mr.
And also
Taylor's
to get
gonna
a copy
you
of the,
information. All right, he's gonna talk to you, okay?
and Ms.
Um,
Hager, just a copy of the obstruction information as well.
Yes, once we get it, we're still holding. Thank you.
All right, so Mr. Thomas's cases are the last cases on the arraignment calendar. We're gonna switch to the jail calendar. All right, the first case on the jail calendar is Baker, Alfonso Pierre Baker. Mr. Baker is not represented, but did you all have an opportunity to speak with him, Mr. Lynch or Mr. Taylor?
Judge, we have spoken to him, and I believe that we are appointed to represent him. I know it doesn't list it on the calendar.
Well,
But I
that
know we've
works.
been appointed before. We'll do it.
Okay.
Later, but I believe we somehow, by the way, it got transferred. They didn't list us, but I believe we were appointed initially.
That's fine. Did you wish to, you said you had an announcement or you still need to talk
Judge,
to
I
it?
believe Mr. Taylor has a negotiated plea. Is that correct?
That, yes. And Mr. Baker has possibly a VOP hearing later today in Superior.
Superior Court? Okay.
So if we
Well,
could bring him out to make him available, if that gets.
oh yeah, let's get Mr. Baker done if we can.
Hi, Mr. Baker.
Okay, yes, sir.
Okay, we're ready to proceed, Your Honor.
All right. All right, raise your right hand for me, sir. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can put your hand down, sir. So, Mr. Baker, you're before the court on 2025 CR 00863 for battery family violence count 1, battery count 2, simple battery family violence count 3, simple battery count 4. Alfonso Pierre Baker, you're represented by the law firm of Lister, Holt, and Dennis. Mr. Taylor, what is your client plea to the offenses before the court?
My client pleads guilty to count 1, counts 2, 3, and 4 should merge.
All right. By entering a plea of guilty to count 1, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence on your behalf. And if you are not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, factual basis and recommendation, please.
Yes, Your Honor. On or about November the 6th of 2024, Officer Shabana Lamar responded to 1620 Gardenwood Court, Atlanta, Georgia, 30349, Clayton County, in regards to a domestic disturbance. During her investigation, it was determined that the defendant did commit the offense of battery family violence. when the defendant during an argument grabbed the victim as the victim was walking away, causing a large laceration to the victim's upper back. At the time of the incident, the defendant and the victim did live in the same household. The victim being Jolanda, Jolanda, Christina Norman, Norman. Your Honor, the state's recommendation is 12 months probation, 40 hours of community service, a fine of $300 to be suspended. The defendant is to complete the family violence intervention program and to have no violent or harassing contact with the victim. And counts 2, 3, and 4 will merge.
Okay, Mr. Taylor?
Your Honor, nothing further from the defense, just ask that you accept the Senate's recommendation.
Mr. Baker, who's Jolanda Christina Norman?
Miss Jolanda Christina Norman is a female that I have been involved with for about a good 18 months. She's currently housing my disabled mother who's on hospice right now. And that's the only relationship we have as far as we were in a relationship. And that's about it. She just has my mother, and that's about it, ma'am.
Okay, so that's a difficult situation because you got the person that you're no longer cool with taking care of your disabled mom.
I don't know, Your Honor. I just wish things wouldn't have got out of hand. But here we are today before. And I just want to say, I just wish that this would never happen because of the fact that I really need to help Miss Norman with my mother. But in this case, I have nothing else to say on that because of what happened. So I just hope for the best that my mother could get the best care she can, you know.
Okay, well, let's hope that Miss Norman is at least doing that for you.
Yes, ma'am.
But Mr. Baker, sometimes when things get heated, which they often do, when you got especially the stress of being a caretaker, sometimes you just got to take a breath and leave. Got to just walk around the block.
And you're right. And I agree. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Right. So 12 months probation, 40 hours of community service. The $300 fine will be suspended. You'll take the family violence intervention program. That's a 24-week class. You don't want to mess up because if you do, they'll make you start over. And I prioritize the class because it does help you with communication. Okay.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
you're to have no violent or harassing contact with Jolanda Christina Norman. Counts 2, 3, and 4 will merge. You'll meet with probation and then they'll explain everything to you. The quickest way to get rearrested is to not attend your probation report. So you got to report to probation as necessary. And I know what it means to be a caretaker, 9.5 months caring for my mama post-surgery. And so I know how hard it is. And I know that caretakers can sometimes reach the breaking point. So I wish you well. And I wish prayers for your mom. Okay.
And when I do be released, everything should be better. I'm just gonna watch myself and how I have conduct. But thank you for everything, ma'am.
You're welcome, sir. Take care.
Thank you.
All right, Bria Monet Coleman. Ms. Coleman's on a probation revocation. So with Whitson, do we want to do men, women? What's the preference as far as security and the ability to handle the inmates for you?
Judge, I think doing the women first today might be for expediency and efficiency. Would probably be the best.
All right, so Bria, we've already done Ms. Banks. Bria Monet Coleman.
Last time I worked here, or was it? Yeah, I know the name. But this was. What should I do? I mean,
Coleman.
All right, raise your right hand for me, Ms. Coleman. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you put your hand down. Ms. Coleman, you're before the court on State of Georgia versus Bria Monet Coleman, 2022 CR 06261. You're before the court. You were before this court on disorderly conduct on the 9th day of September 2024. And I remember this case because you had a disagreement with the restaurant manager where they tried to withhold your check. Is that correct?
No, ma'am.
Nope, that's not it. Oh,
With my mother.
okay. All right. So, and I messed up. That's a rare miss for me. Do you have committed the new criminal offense of no tag, expired or invalid tag, no insurance, obstructing driver's view, driving on a suspended or revoked license, and this was on January 7th of 2025. Ms. Coleman, how you gonna drive a car that ain't got nothing going right?
I ain't have a choice. I had to pick up my kids from school. I literally got arrested at Rex Mill Middle School.
At where?
Rex Mill Middle School.
Damn. You got arrested in front of your children?
Yes.
Okay. Whose car were you driving?
I paid for the car. It's in my husband's name.
Okay, and y'all didn't have anything correct?
No, man, we have been trying to get everything done. Every time he would take the paperwork and things up to the Fulton County tag DMV, they would basically they would basically tell us to bring other documents to be able to get a 45-day tag or a temporary tag.
I spoke with Ms. Coleman and there was some working on emissions issues.
I'm sorry, you what?
Emissions, getting the emissions corrected on the car.
Where you get this car from, Ms. Coleman?
Pull apart.
Oh, Lord. Ms. Coleman, I understand you're struggling and I know it's hard. I asked that because some of these places that sell these cars, they know they selling something that's never gonna pass emissions. And they're taking people's money. And it is driving me crazy. I hate that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what's the recommendation, Miss hey, I'm sorry.
Ms. Chang, the recommendation?
Yeah, Your Honor, probation recommends that 14 days be revoked, credit for time served since January 29th, and case closed.
That works for me. She's been in that long?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so probation will be suspended and closed, credit for time served. All right, Ms. Coleman, I know times are hard. It's hard out here for a lot of people. But I think what's going to happen is y'all are going to have to get one more job. Like, where's your husband working?
He works for, like he does plumbing.
He does plumbing?
Yes.
Is he working for a company or he trying to catch can?
He works for a company. I was getting ready to start. Remember I told you I was about to become a med tech. I was getting ready to start my new job the day I got arrested.
For a med tech?
Yeah.
Do you think they're going to be able to hold your job?
They held it for me.
Oh, thank goodness. All right. So you're going to get out today. And this case is done. Okay.
Okay.
And the new cases, we'll deal with those when those come up. Okay.
Okay.
All right. But go ahead and get started on that job. And to just explain to your children, times are hard. And, you know, I got a middle schooler too, and everything we do embarrasses them because we old.
Right.
But just explain to him that you are working as hard as you can to not be in this position. And if they just will be a little bit patient with you, things are going to get better. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. I know you're trying. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, ma'am.
Thank you. You too.
You're welcome. If y'all could just hold on a second, somehow I have something I did has changed the resolution on my screen and I can't see nothing on my iPad. Just give me 5 seconds to figure out what I hit. Hold on a second. And then this
Ms. Hagler? I'm about to send you a chat.
Yes, okay.
The who's yeah? Well, we're doing the females. Okay, trying to get that resolved first.
All right, Ms. Chang, I sent that over to you. Okay, so Ms. Coleman, let's see, what is the next? Because we're trying to get the females all out so that we can go ahead and do the males all.
Judge, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I did not mean to interrupt, but I believe we're bringing out Ms. Pinkney, if that's okay with everybody.
Okay, that's fine. Whoever's next. How about Essence Hawkins? Is that a male or female?
He's right here.
Okay. Ms. Pinkney?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, raise your right hand for me. You're before the court. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can put your hand down. You're before the court on 2025 CR 00792, Katoya Sequenti Pinkney,
Yes,
for
ma'am.
theft by shoplifting, and you're represented by Mr. Taylor with the law firm of Lister Holton Dennis.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, this is a guilty plea to the single count of shoplifting. It's non-negotiated. We've discussed with Attorney Hagler, and we have some disagreements.
Okay.
Recommendation. So.
All right. So, ma'am, I'm sorry. You said it was guilty plea?
It is, Your Honor, to
okay.
shoplifting.
All right. By entering a plea of guilty, ma'am, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. Give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And if you are not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, factual basis and recommendation, please.
Yes, Your Honor. On or about January 25th, 2025, Officer Walker was working an off-duty job at 7050 Highway 85, Riverdale, Georgia, 30274, Clayton County, also known as the Walmart, when he responded to a woman shoplifting. Officer Walker spoke to the Walmart's asset protection representative, Mr. Josh Williams. According to Mr. Williams, he witnessed a defendant shoplifting on the security cameras. The defendant was caught on camera with a shopping cart filled with merchandise, placing the items in Walmart bags as if she had purchased the items. After bagging the items, the defendant proceeded to pass all points of sale and exit the store, not paying for the items. The defendant was detained and taken into the asset protection office. Once inside the office, the defendant was searched and the merchandise was retrieved. And the total amount of items shoplifted came to a total of $315.44. Your Honor, those are the facts of the case. The state's recommendation is 12 months to serve, 20 days. Credit for time served, balance probated, and a fine of $500. The defendant is to stay away and to not return to the Walmart location. Your Honor, it's also important to note that this is a defendant's second conviction for shoplifting, which is why the offer is what it is. The defendant also was convicted of shoplifting in Richmond County State Court. That conviction date is December the 18th of 2023. Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Pinckney, Mr. Taylor?
Yes, Your Honor. Had an opportunity to speak with Ms. Pinckney sort of in depth about her situation. She's currently homeless. She's been living in Tent City down by the Greyhound station in Atlanta near the MARTA station and Greyhound bus station. And this was basically an act of a person being hungry and cold. The merchandise that she took was food and clothing. And she admits to it. She admits to being guilty, but being in a situation where she had to take a chance. It was inappropriate. Obviously, she knows that it's incorrect, but given her financial and homeless situation, she thought it was the better of two bad choices.
Ms. Pinckney?
Yes, ma'am.
How old are you, ma'am?
How old am I?
Yes.
41.
Okay, so Ms. Pinckney, you have no family in this area?
Yes, ma'am. I have an aunt that stays in Duluth. I've been talking to my cousin. You know what I'm saying? That we trying to see if I can come. If I can come up down, but
She is.
Who was in Augusta?
That's where I'm from. I'm from Augusta.
Okay, well, why you come here to Atlanta when you from Augusta? Don't you have people in Augusta?
Yes, ma'am. My entire family's in Augusta. I just a different scene, just something different.
You just what?
Just something different. I just got off the Greyhound and just stayed here. It's no set reason. I just wanted to be in Atlanta. I've never been in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? It's something new.
Yeah, but you're not in Atlanta. You in a tent city, ma'am. Atlanta's a little different.
Yes,
what
ma'am.
I'm saying to you is why stay here when everybody you know who might have some help for you or help you get on your feet enough to get a job is in Augusta.
I was homeless in Augusta. And then I ended up meeting a guy here, a friend here, so I just stayed. I just didn't have a reason to go back.
Okay, let's talk about this. Before you were homeless, what was going on?
Before I was homeless,
Mm-hmm.
I was living in a motel.
Bad family situation?
No, I always been the black sheep of the family. Like I always did my own thing. I just never, I didn't work. I didn't have my own houses, apartments. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I just choose to I couldn't even explain it.
I don't understand it either because usually when I have this kind of situation, I'm dealing with somebody who has a mental health issue or a medical issue that keeps them from working and taking care of themselves. Or, they don't have any family who could help them maybe get on their feet temporarily. What I don't usually see is somebody who like, well, I left one situation, I came to another situation, but 2 years later, I'm still in the same situation.
No,
I'm trying to figure out how to get you out of this situation because stealing from Walmart that's not the way to go.
It's not the way to go. But when I came here, I didn't have my credentials. I didn't have no license, social security card, nothing. So I had to go back home. I went back to Augusta with my license from South Carolina. I went back to South Carolina and got my driver's license so I can get a job. And I can't apply.
Okay. So do you have that stuff now?
Now, it's my property. I have it now. That was what I went back home around Christmas. Then I had to get a phone. So I just got a phone a week before I got locked up. I'm working on it. I just ain't got it yet.
Okay, what was your recommendation, Mr. Taylor?
Your Honor, Ms. Pinckney's been in custody for 18 days currently, and due to her homeless situation, I just don't feel she's going to be able to pay the recommended fine.
Yeah, I don't think so either, but she could do community service.
Okay.
I'll give her 50 hours of community service in lieu of the fine, and find some place that can help you get back on your feet.
Yes,
Talk to probation. Find a place that not only will you be doing good for them, but they might be able to help you.
yes, ma'am.
Okay? Because you need to get back on your feet. Living in a tent city, they killed some guy recently driving into a tent city to do an ice raid. The man was in just you didn't even hear that, but yeah, am I wrong, Mr. Taylor? I believe it was on the news where the gentleman, they just had his funeral the other day. He was in a homeless encampment. They drove in to do an ice raid, and somebody drove over him.
What?
Yes, ma'am. So that is not a safe place.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
I'm sure you have experienced more than we can even talk about on this hearing. So you got to make up your mind. When you do your community service, ask your probation officer for recommendations for agencies that help people get back on their feet. We have some, okay? And when you start working with them, ask them for help.
I've been here 4 months. I'm working on it.
Okay? Because most people don't have their credentials, and usually, like you have experience, that's usually the worst thing for them, is that they don't have the ability to show people who they are, or that they have a driver's license or a social security card or any of those things. But if you have those things, then use them to your benefit. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to accept your plea of guilty. I'll sentence you to 12 months to serve 20 days. Credit for time served balance will be probated. In lieu of the $500 fine, it'll be 50 hours of community service. And you're not to go back to any Walmart in Clayton County for the remainder of the 12-month sentence, okay?
And Your Honor, can we,
Yes.
so we waive the probation supervision?
I'll waive the probation supervision fees.
Thank you, Your Honor.
But Ms. Pinckney,
Yes,
get it together, ma'am. Being the black sheep is only works for you when you can take care of yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can go back with the sheriff.
Your Honor.
Thank you.
Understand.
You're welcome.
The monies to do criminal services.
Ugh.
Where you want to go up about 4 blocks. And also there's one of the churches up there does a and get if you can get to a place that would be. Your Honor, Miss Essence Hawkins will be next.
Okay.
Mr. Taylor, is this negotiated or non-negotiated? I know we were holding. What's she gonna do?
Let me speak to her briefly.
Okay.
That's negotiated, Your Honor, and that will be a guilty plea.
All right, raise your right hand for me. Do you solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true?
Yes.
All right, you can put your hand down. Ms. Hawkins, you're before the court on State of Georgia versus Essence Hawkins, 2025 CR 00864 for that simple battery family violence. Ms. Hawkins, you're representing. I'm sorry. Is that simple assault?
It is.
Okay, because it cut it off on my computer. So you're simple assault, family violence. That's the correction. I'm sorry. And you're represented by Mr. Taz Taylor. Mr. Taylor, what is she pleading to the offense before the court?
She is pleading. I apologize. I said guilty earlier. It should be a no-low plea to this offense if the court has no objection.
All right. So Ms. Hawkins, by internal plea of no low, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And if you are not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. You understand all of these things?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, factual basis and recommendation, please.
Yes, Your Honor. On or about January the 3rd of 2025, Officer Daniel DeSilva, D-E-S as in Sam, I-L-V-A, responded to 8386 Glenwood Terrace, Riverdale, Georgia, 30274, Clayton County, in reference to a domestic disturbance. During his investigation, it was determined that the defendant did commit the offense of simple assault, family violence, when she placed the victim, Tania, T-A-N-N-Y-I-A Hawkins, in reasonable apprehension of receiving a violent injury by walking up to the victim and bracing up to her as if she wanted to hit her. The victim moved the defendant away from her to ensure that she did not get attacked. Your Honor, those are the facts of the case. The state's offer is 12 months probation, 40 hours of community service, a fine of $300 to be suspended, anger management, and the defendant is to have no violent or harassing contact with the victim, Tania Hawkins.
This, Mr. Taylor, who's Tania Hawkins?
That's Miss Hawkins' cousin.
Okay.
Miss Essence Hawkins, my client, was previously staying with her cousin at her cousin's residence, and there was some disagreement over just family matters, some babysitting questions, etc. I will say that the simple assault or the acting aggressive happened between both parties. However, the officer determines, based on his conversation with both folks, that my client was the initial aggressor. I don't necessarily agree with that set of facts, but we do wish to resolve the matter today.
All right, so Ms. Hawkins, what's going on? Why are you living with your cousin? Tell me what's going on.
I moved down here for a relationship and it didn't work out. And I ended up breaking my leg because I was homeless, so I moved in with her to help her son.
Okay, and what happened?
I just asked her a simple question. Was she talking about me to my sister and her attitude changed? So we was talking in the hallway and I guess I took a step forward. She pushed me down on the ground and told me that she was gonna call the cops. And I told her to go ahead and do it. And I stepped out of the house and the cops pulled up and they arrested me.
All right.
So, Your Honor, at this
Right.
time, although we agree with the state's recommendation, Ms. Hawkins has some definite financial concerns and just asked that you waive the probation fees so that she can attempt to get on her feet without relying on.
Okay, when you came down here, Ms. Hawkins, what was the plan for how you will make money?
Get a job.
Okay, what kind of job?
Anything at the moment. I was going to go and do, I was going to help her son with.
No, not when you moved in with your cousin, when you moved in here for the relationship. What was the plan?
Oh, to get on my feet to get a job. But when I tried to do that, that backfired. The person wasn't trying to let me actually come up. They was just out for themselves. So I had to move myself out of the situation and I went on the streets for 2 years.
2 years?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll waive the supervision fees, but you're gonna do 40 hours of community service. Choose an agency that can help you. So instead of going to picking up trash along the side of the road, when the probation officer gives you your options or tells you where there are available options, choose an agency that might be able to help you get off the street.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you need some stability.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so I'll accept your plea of no low 12 months probation, 40 hours of community service. The $300 fine will be suspended. You're to have an anger management class, no violent or harassing contact with Tania Hawkins. And I'll suspend the fine to I'll suspend the supervision fees for the first 4 months. Okay,
Thank you, Your Honor.
you're welcome.
Any questions?
I think that is all the females, if I'm not mistaken.
Keisha Kelly, Your Honor.
Oh, sorry.
Judge Hayward.
All right. Raise your right hand for me, Miss Kelly. Solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true.
Yes, ma'am.
You can put your hand down, Miss Kelly. Thank you. You're before the court on State of Georgia versus Keisha C. Kelly, 2025 CR 00889 for criminal trespass. Mr. Taylor, Taz Taylor is representing you. Mr. Taylor, what is your client plead to the offense?
Your Honor, my client pleads nolo to the single offense of criminal trespass, and this is a non-negotiated plea.
All right. By entering a plea of nolo, ma'am, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And if you are not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things?
Yes, Your Honor.
Factual basis of recommendation, please.
Yes, Your Honor. On or about January 25th of 2025, Officer Adnan, Adnan, last name Bustalgia, Busatlijaa, with the Atlanta Police Department was dispatched to 5952 Spine Road, Atlanta, Georgia 30337, also known as the Atlanta International Airport, regarding a female refusing to exit the female restroom at the west crossover inside the domestic terminal at the airport. Upon arrival, the officer spoke with the Hope representative, Dalarie, Dalarie Turner, who advised that the defendant left prior to the officer arriving. Ms. Turner also advised that the defendant was verbally abusive to her, and that the defendant also assaulted her inside the domestic terminal during a previous incident. Ms. Turner provided the officer with a photo of the defendant and the direction of travel. At that time, the officer went in search of the defendant and found her on the west curb smoking. But at that time, it was determined that the defendant was giving a current criminal trespass that was issued by Unit 1705 under case number 2404-58002. The defendant is also the subject of an ongoing assault investigation that was documented under case number 2436-28106. At that time, the defendant was detained. Your Honor, those are the facts of the case. The state's recommendation is 12 months to serve, 90 days, balance suspended. The defendant is to not return and to stay away from the incident location unless for official business. The reason for the state's offer is because the defendant was given a prior warning in which she failed to adhere to that warning. And the state will also ask the court to not accept a no-low plea on this case. Thank you.
Mr. Taylor?
Thank you, Your Honor. There was a lot of information presented in that factual basis. However, the actual facts of the case are the defendant was seen outside when an officer encountered her smoking. Yes, she had had a previous criminal trespass warning. That's when we feel the criminal trespass, that's when we're entering a plea. However, all of that other information regarding assault, investigations, etc., and not leaving the bathroom, there's no indication that an officer encountered the defendant in a bathroom or that she assaulted another person except for that other person's report to the police. I'm not saying it did or did not happen. It's just not the basis for the charge today. And Ms. Kelly, currently homeless. However, she does intend to return back to family members in Athens, Georgia, when this matter is resolved.
Ms. Kelly, you have family that'll take you back in Athens?
My sister said she'll be here today, but
I couldn't guarantee that she'd be released today, so we haven't informed her sister if she could come pick her up. But her sister informed her that she is ready to come pick her up as soon as Miss Kelly's released.
How long has she been in jail?
As of today, 16 days. She was arrested on January 26th.
I'll give her what's her sister's name?
her name is Keena Kelly, Keena Marie Kelly. Twin sister.
Twin sister? Twin sister, young. Apartment twin sister.
It's called Parkview Homes, right beside the University of Georgia School.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so this is what I'm gonna do. Ms. Kelly, I'm gonna accept your plea of no law. I'll send you to 12 months to serve 70 days. But you will be released upon the condition that upon Miss Tina Marie Kelly's arrival, you can be released into her custody. At that point, your case will be suspended. As long as you have as long as you do not go back to Hartsfield Jackson Atlanta International Airport. So here's what'll happen. You'll either spend 70 days in jail with credit since the date of lockup, or you'll be released as soon as your sister can come get you. You can be released into her custody.
May I ask a question, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am.
May I make a phone call to call her?
Yeah. As soon as you want to, you can call her. Mr. Taylor can call her. I don't care. But as soon as she shows up, you can be released into her custody.
Thank you so much.
All right. So Miss Kelly, Miss Kelly, listen to me. When you've been homeless and you've been living on the street, that's one thing. But when somebody takes a chance on you and they want to come and help you, then you got to work with them. Okay.
I know.
All right.
Yes, ma'am. I know.
Be grateful for the fact that she's willing to come and help you and take you in, because I'm sure she misses you like you miss her. But please make sure that you don't make her life hard, okay?
Okay. Yes, Your Honor. I will not make her life hard.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Take care.
Your Honor.
Yes.
May I get the spelling of the defendant's sister so that I can indicate on the sentence that she can be
Tina,
released?
Tina Marie, Marie, Kelly.
Wait. Hold on, Your Honor.
Yes.
Ms. Kelly.
Did I get that right?
It's Keena with the K. Keena and Keisha with the K.
Keena. Oh, I'm sorry. Keena. Kina.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. So yeah, they're twins. Kina. I'm sorry. Thank you, Miss.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I thought I heard it right, but I heard it wrong. All right. We can go back with the sheriff's office.
Well, they should let you call her, but I'm also going to call her when I get back to my office.
Okay, please try to come get me today.
I will. Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Ms.
All right. Whoever's next.
Is that all the females? Judge, I believe that's all the females. Can I request perchance a quick breakout room with yourself, Miss Hagler, and maybe Miss Arnold? I'm just trying to educate myself on something and really present something to the court on Dobbins.
Okay, hold on. Breakout room number 1. Courtroom. Miss Hagler. Miss Hemphill, I didn't forget. I cleared my schedule for today.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome. And myself and Miss Arnold. All right, we'll be right back.
Excuse me, Your Honor.
Yes, Mr. Carmichael.
May I be placed in the breakout room with you for just a moment?
Put you in breakout room number 2.
Yes, ma'am.
In May. Judge, oh, I think Judge might be frozen. I think Judge might have just got.
What's the breakout room?
Oh, okay, let's go back to the breakout room then.
All right. Who is next? Oh, I think are they back in the, I think the courtroom is back in the breakout room, so we'll be back in a moment.
Your Honor,
Yes, Miss Arnold.
they're waiting to see what you were doing, if you were going back in the break room or not.
No, I left. I told them I would listen to the case.
Okay, I'll tell them come out.
Are they not listening to me?
All right, I'll get them.
I said, let's hear the case.
She started reading the faces in the room.
No, like, I mean, no, like, really. I don't want to do it twice.
Your Honor, Attorney Lynch and Attorney Hagler are still in the breakout room.
Yeah, Miss Arnold is gonna go get them.
Thank you.
Okay, so should we leave?
see, Judge. You're muted. Oh, there you go.
I'm sorry if I wasn't clear. I meant that let's go ahead and do the plea.
Okay.
I needed to hear it in context. All right, so this is Dobbins, correct? Are we ready on Dobbins or are we ready on somebody else?
I mean, I think we're ready on Dobbins. What's the announcement?
On Thomas, he wishes to address the court from the arraignment.
Okay, okay. Can you bring out Dobbins?
Hmm. Oh.
I'm just gonna briefly address Mr. Dobbins before we go forward.
Okay.
Trying to see what was gonna happen with court first.
Yeah, Judge, we're ready to go forward.
All right. Mr. Dobbins, raise your right hand for me, sir. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true. I think I muted you by accident.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can put your hand down. Mr. Dobbins, you're before the court. You're represented by Attorney Owen Lynch, who's with the law firm of Lister, Holt, and Dennis. You're before the court on 2023 CR 06417. Philip Iceland Dobbins for family violence ordinance violation. What does your client plead to the offense before the court?
Judge, he pleads guilty.
All right, by internal plea of guilty, sir, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And Mr. Dobbins, if you're not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things?
Yes, ma'am.
Factual basis and recommendation, please.
Yes, Your Honor. On or about April 26th of 2023, Officer Dwayne DWAIN Sharp, SHARP, responded to 10173 Brass Rings Road, Jonesboro, Georgia, 30238, Clayton County, in reference to a domestic disturbance. Upon arrival, he met with the defendant, who advised that he had called the police. Upon making contact with the defendant, officer observed him standing in front of the residence near the carport. The defendant advised that his wife was in the residence and she had been driving his Chevrolet Camaro. The defendant stated that his wife had been driving the vehicle for a couple of days, but he would like the vehicle back due to him having to pay daily for a rental vehicle for himself. The defendant advised that his wife currently did not have a vehicle and that they had 3 children, which is why she was driving the Camaro. The defendant advised that he recently went to jail for an altercation with his wife, in which they were in. The defendant stated that he had not talked to his wife since his release from jail, and that he would like the law enforcement to mediate the conversation. While speaking to the defendant and Ms. Catherine Dobbins Kathryn Dobbins, the victim in this case as well, came outside. Mrs. Dobbins stated that she used the vehicle to drive their children around. While speaking with the defendant and Mrs. Dobbins, she stated, in quotes, "Are you going to tell them or do you want me to?" At that time, the defendant remained quiet, and Mrs. Dobbins showed Officer Sharp an electronic copy of a bond order signed by a Clayton County Magistrate Court judge. The bond order stated that the defendant should not have any contact with the victim, Catherine, to include third parties contact. The bond order stated that the defendant was not allowed to come to the residence also. The defendant advised that he did receive a copy of the bond order, and the defendant advised that he came to a location to talk to his wife, also the victim in this case, and that the bond order was keeping his family apart. Your Honor, at that time, the defendant was arrested and placed for the violation. Your Honor, the state's recommendation is 12 months to serve, 90 days. The defendant can get credit since the day of lockup. Balance probated to complete the family violence intervention program, a fine of $1,000, and the victim is also on the line and would like to give a statement as well.
All right. Let me hear from Ms. Is it Ms. Dobbins?
Yes, ma'am, Mrs. Dobbins.
All right. Who's Mrs. Dobbins?
His wife.
Oh, I get it, but I'm just.
Oh, you said where is she?
Yeah.
Oh, should be. Hold on. She was.
All right.
Okay.
Ms. Dobbins,
Okay.
raise your right hand for me. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true?
Yes.
All right, you can put your hand down. All right, Ms. Dobbins, tell me what you want me to know.
So is this for the second time he showed up? Is this for the initial arrest, or is this for, because he got arrested, he got bonded out, he showed backup. Is this the court date for the second?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yeah. So everything that was stated was true. He showed up, he was knocking on the door, whatever. I had cameras. The police were called, and then I showed them the bond or the statement that he was to have no contact. He got arrested again. The reason why I had the Camaro was because he totaled my F-150 that I had that was paid off, so I did not have a vehicle at the time. But other than that, I mean.
Okay. So this is one of those cases where everybody's technically right and everybody is on the edge of what I usually get upset about. So Mr. Dobbins should not have gone back to the house. He should have called the police first before he went to the house, but he went to the house without calling the police. So that is a violation of my bond order, clearly. So he's entered a plea of guilty. Ms. Dobbins, are y'all divorced?
No, but I would like to be.
Okay, what's taking you so long to get a divorce?
There's a no contact order, so I was waiting to figure out what was going on with court before I filed the divorce papers.
Okay, I don't know who didn't make this clear, but anything through the courts does not violate the no contact order. So you can file for divorce anytime you want to, as long as y'all have communication through the courts. That's not a violation.
Okay, well then I'll see y'all soon.
Okay, I'm just saying, but y'all have children, is that correct?
One.
Okay. Let me just admonish both of you. I say this because divorce is really hard on people, but it's hardest on children because sometimes parents get caught up in their feelings and the issues that they have with each other and they forget that there's a child involved. At some point, you all had enough respect and love for each other to be in a relationship and to have a child. And no matter what happens in this divorce process, don't forget that. Don't let your anger or your issues with each other overshadow what happens with your child, because you can really damage a child when y'all are so focused on getting back at each other. Now, Mr. Dobbins, I get that you wanted your Camaro, but if you left her without transportation, why would you think that it didn't make sense for her to drive the available car to drive around because she has the kids?
Okay.
You don't have the kids. You can take Marta.
Right. And this happened a couple years ago. So
you're telling me you've matured since then?
yes, I have matured a lot since then. I went to prison. Henry County sent me to prison for a year, and I used my time very wisely, and I've educated myself. And I don't know if my wife can hear me, but if she can, I would like to say that I would like to remain married. I'd like to work it out if I can, but if not,
I don't think that's going to happen, Mr. Dobbins, but
yeah,
you know.
if not, I understand, and I'll take the steps that she would like me to take to get the divorce or whatever or whatnot. I do believe that I try to work every second that I have outside of here for our kids. So I just want to put that in.
So he's claiming kids, Mrs. Dobbins. So that means you have some children that he took care of, or he has some children that you took care of. Is that correct?
My kids are very well taken care of. I do everything in my power to take care of them.
No, I'm not. No.
I haven't seen any money. So
okay.
No, he doesn't take care of no kids.
All right. So Mr. Dobbins, let me tell you something. She clearly wants a divorce. She's going to go forward with the divorce. Right. You're still going to have to be a father, but you got to show her you can't father from prison. You can't father from jail. Listen to me now. So you got to straighten up and fly right and not mess up, because you know if you went to prison, then there's probably still a violation of a probation or something hanging out, or parole hanging out there, where you could possibly go back if you mess up again. So what I'm saying to you is, this is your opportunity not to prove to her that you've changed, but to prove to your child that you've changed. Now, because that's what is going to matter. If she sees you standing up and being a father to your child and being the right kind of father, then that's going to matter to her whether y'all get back together or not, because it doesn't, the romance part, that's probably gone.
Yeah.
But you being a co-parent and a support for the health and well-being of your children, that has to be your priority. You understand?
And I do want to do that, but how do I do that with this?
Well, what I'm telling you is, you will have whatever, if the Superior Court decides that you all are to have structured contact, that is not going to be a violation of my order. But it has to come through the Superior Court judge that determines your divorce. Anything I say stands until a Superior Court judge says, okay, I know y'all have a no contact order or a limited contact order, but we're going to give you contact based on what the Superior Court judge says. So any contact that's ordered by a judge is not a violation. But you have to remember, Mr. Dobbins, you can't just roll up on her. You can't just decide you're going to go show up and see the kid. You can't do any of those things. Right. You either have to follow my order or the order of a judge higher than me.
Yes, ma'am.
You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so please understand that it's not her you're trying to impress. It's the fact that you abandoned a child for over a year because of your hot-headed actions that landed you in prison.
Right. I agree.
Okay, we're clear. All right. So,
and Your Honor, can you please add to the state's recommendation the victim does not want any contact with the defendant? Okay, thank you.
So, for Dobbins, the state has recommended a 90-day stay in jail, family violence intervention, and $1,000 fine. Based on
no contact with the victim.
And no contact. Based on the fact that Mr. Dobbins has not had a job and the $1,000 would not be going to Mrs. Dobbins, I'm not ordering it. If any money that he has needs to go directly to her for child support. So I don't want money coming to me or to not me, but to the court for a fine in the amount of $1,000 plus $420 in surcharges, if that's money that can go to Miss Dobbins. So, yes, ma'am.
I don't want any money.
Ms. Dobbins, I'm not, this is about a fine. So what I'm saying to you is I don't want a fine paid. If the Superior Court or somebody orders child support, it is not, and please stop saying I don't want any money, because it's not your money. It's your child's money. So it doesn't matter what you want. Your child is entitled to have the support financially, emotionally, physically of both parents. And so when you say, I don't want any money, that's not your money. You're giving away something that belongs to your child, not to you. Everybody knows you're a strong woman and you can take care of everything. You don't have to keep proving that. But if there's money on the table for your child, you need to get that money. Don't be stupid.
Yes, ma'am.
I love these women. I don't need no money. Yes, you do. It's not your money. It's your child's money. You could always have more. I got 2 boys. They growing out of shoes and clothes every time you blink. So yes, ma'am. You need that money. Don't ever say that. It's not your money.
Yes.
All right. So that's what I'm saying. I don't need that to be paid for a fine to the county when the Superior Court might order him to pay that in child support. I want that money available for your child.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right. So how long has he been in jail?
Judge, so he's been locked up this time since the initial date of lockup that the state ended up telling me, but that's for this time coming in. So he's been in this time since, let's see, well,
January 28th.
January 28th, Judge, but he was initially arrested back in 2023. He did about a day and he bonded out. Then he went to prison in Henry County for a year.
Okay.
Comes back and he served from May to August, potentially serving for the felony case. I understand that.
Okay. Oh, Mr. Lynch.
Yes,
all
Judge.
right. 12 months, 60 days, credit for time served. Balance will be probated for him to take a family violence intervention program. The $1,000 fine will be suspended so that Mr. Dobbins, you need to take that family violence intervention program very seriously. It's a 24-week course. It will require you to attend. If you miss more than 3 sessions, they'll make you start it all over again. That is my priority. So if you're confused about what I want from you, I want you to show up for probation. That's priority number 1. If you don't do it, you'll be rearrested. I want you to do the family violence intervention program. Learn from the course. Figure out how to be a better person, a better communicator, a better father. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Then have no contact with Ms. Dobbins or the children until such time as a Superior Court judge acting in its family law capacity can order visitation, custody, or any of those things that you all will be dealing with the divorce, okay?
Okay.
The one exception is you can mail her money for child support, a money order with nothing written on the envelope but her address and the name of the child.
I don't have the address.
Okay, well then don't
I
worry.
don't need it. I mean, I see her shaking her head.
Okay, no, don't worry about it. Just do whatever the Superior Court orders for the divorce.
Okay.
All right, so Mr. Dobbins, see how far you have messed up and see how far you have to go. You had a wife and a child, or children, because she has other children, I would presume. And this whole thing has gone so far down the drain that you don't even know where they are anymore. See how far you got to go to catch up.
Right.
All right. Just remember that, Mr. Dobbins, it's on you to prove that you have changed and you can be a better father and co-parent.
Yes, ma'am. Can I say something for the record?
What do you want to tell me for the record?
I just, again, my life is based off the kids. Like, I'm trying to work for the kids.
But you got to prove that, Mr. Dobbins.
I am. And
you've been in prison for a year. Your kids don't even know where you were.
Yeah, I mean, but the last couple of weeks, I've been spending time with my other son. I've been putting my houses up for Airbnbs. I started up a TV mountain business. I got my management position back in the steel mill. I mean, I've been doing a lot. It ain't like I haven't been just doing anything.
Good.
Even though I haven't been able to communicate with my wife, I don't understand. It's not meant for me to understand, but I just want her to know that.
No, it's meant for you to understand. There comes a time when there's a breaking point, and when she decides she doesn't want to have contact with you because you haven't acted properly in the marriage, that's the breaking point. So what you do from now forward is you concentrating on being a good parent and a good provider. That's where you are right now.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay? That's where you are.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So you you'll meet with probation, and once you meet with probation, they'll explain everything. But like I said, the quickest way to get rearrested is to not report for probation. We
Okay.
clear?
Yes, ma'am. Now I do have probation in Henry County still, so how do I get that? Am I just have two different probations or do I?
Yeah, yep, you're gonna have to figure it out.
Okay,
Do less, Mr. Dobbins. That's all I'm saying. Do less.
yeah, this is more.
All right. All right, Ms. Dobbins, you good?
Yes, thank you.
All right, and if somebody's trying to do something good for your child, don't ever turn it down.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. All right. Next.
I imagine Ms. Chang might appreciate if we did Mr. Ratliff next.
Okay.
You're good to go.
Am I getting free today?
On this, yeah, you should be released. Oh, I'm sorry. And Judge, additionally, I'm sorry, Mr. Taylor was trying to tell me this earlier. Mr. Lamech Thomas had an announcement to the court, I believe.
Yes, I would like that announcement. I was going to ask. Go ahead.
All right, so I won't be needing an attorney. I'll be representing myself as my trust. I'll be representing my trust. I wouldn't need an attorney.
Okay, Mr. What you mean by your trust?
I'm sorry.
What you mean by your trust?
My name is trademark copyright. Representing my trust when they have.
What does all that mean legally? Do you even understand what you're talking about?
Yes, ma'am. No jurisdiction. I'm not under
No, ma'am. No, sir, Mr.
Jurisdiction.
Mr. Thomas, no. No. We got a president with 37 felonies, sir. He was under somebody's jurisdiction. So I don't know how you, a black man born in America, thinks that you got some stuff that's going to keep you from being under somebody's jurisdiction. All this, I done trademark my name and it's I'm not the true man, and it's the paper man, and all that foolishness, Mr. None of that works. None of that works. Y'all go on the internet and figure out some stuff that don't make a bit of sense, and then it hampers you because you think you know better than an attorney who's gone to school for 3 years and 4 years before that to go to college, and they figured out, and then they worked. Mr. Lynch has been an attorney. I've known him for 10 years now, at least, right, Mr. Lynch? So,
quite,
but you
think getting close.
you think you done gone online and found some stuff, and you the trust of the straw man of the sir. You don't even understand the American legal system and how it works, but you gonna make up your own stuff because somebody done told you that this works. Same person who told you it works, it don't work. Then what kills me is y'all do stuff like, oh, and under the UCC and the maritime, y'all start quoting stuff that doesn't mean anything. I had one guy in Atlanta tell me something was under maritime law. I was like, sir, we are not even near the ocean. Maritime law is for the ocean. It's the esoteric foolishness that y'all get because y'all have done your research. No professional. What you over here talking about you the trust. Okay, imagine if you walked into a hospital and they told you you needed surgery and you said, oh, no, I'm the trust. I'm not the man. I'm going to do my own surgery because I looked it up online.
I'm not the trust. I'm representing the trust.
No, mister, you don't even know what that means. What I'm saying to you is professionals work for years to learn this, to be able to represent people. You wouldn't walk into a hospital if you had a stab wound or a gunshot wound and say, oh, no, the trust is going to take care of me. I'm going to do it myself because I did some research. I am so sick of y'all thinking that attorneys don't do anything. My mama's an attorney, and one of her clients said to her, well, all you really do is, they're trying not to pay her. All you really do is talk. I can talk. Yeah, but do you know the right words in the right sequence and the right things to look up to make the talk you do make sense? No, you do not. So if you think you can replace a lawyer, go replace a doctor. Next time you get sick, go break an arm and go set it yourself. Go let the true man set it. Go do that. So if you don't want Mr. Taylor to represent you, That's fine. You are free to represent yourself. I will give you the Ferrata warning as soon as possible. But what I'm telling you is there are problems that come with that because you may be hampered by the fact that of what you don't know. The second thing is don't expect that if it goes wrong for you, that you can then say, oh, well, I didn't have good assistance of counsel, because you are your own counsel and you've chosen that. And so just be clear. The third thing, I'm not going to listen to all this esoteric foolishness that you spouting off that you barely don't know. I'm going to follow the law that I studied and I've practiced for over, we rolling up on 30 years now. And so no, we're not doing this trust stuff, the true man, the UCC. We're not doing none of that. So when you come before me, I'm doing the law that I know it to be. I'm going to follow the statutes, the Constitution, and the case law before me that is good law in the state of Georgia and the United States. I'm not playing your game. So let me know. I want you to be clear that this is how this is going to go. We clear?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So are you entering a not guilty plea and you intend to go to trial?
What are the charges? I wasn't read the charges when I came in here. I was skipped for some.
Yeah, actually you were, because you have traffic charges and then you have an obstruction charge. Case 2024CR02581, obstruction of an officer. That's the one where you've decided you do not want the assistance of an attorney. The next case is 2021CR04186, traffic violation, which is generally a red light violation. License driving on a suspended or revoked license, count 2. No license, count 3. One of those will merge, so you won't face both of those because of the merger doctrine. So either you would have, if you were convicted, you would face either the driving on suspended or revoked license or the no license, not both. But those are the charges that are currently pending for you.
Okay.
All right, you're entering a not guilty plea and you wish to have a trial?
And those are together, or are they two different charges? Are those two different charges, or that's one whole docket?
You have two different cases.
Right.
The traffic offenses are on the 2021 CR 04186. The obstruction of an officer is on 2024 CR 02581.
Okay, and what are the possible outcomes for these pleas?
Possible outcome is on a misdemeanor offense, if you're convicted, the maximum penalty could be up to 12 months in jail, a $5,000 fine, or both per offense. So for each of the offenses, but with merger doctrine, you would have 1, 2, 3 possible 12-month sentences.
And
those could be or fines. Those could be served concurrently, meaning at the same time, or consecutively, meaning that they would be one after the other. One ends, the other one would start.
All right, I did hear eligible for NOLO. I did hear that come about. So I'll see fit NOLO on the.
Okay, but Mr. Thomas, listen to me. If you're entering a plea of guilty or NOLO, we do a plea right now. If you're entering a plea of not guilty, that means you wish to have a trial at a later date. You can have a jury trial or a bench trial. If you want to do NOLO on your traffic offenses, that's fine. We can do that case now, and you can save the next case for a trial. But if you're entering a plea of NOLO and you want to do that on your traffic offenses, that's fine. We can do that now.
Yes, ma'am. I would like to enter NOLO traffic offenses and not guilty for the obstruction of officer. And by any chance, did that police report show up yet?
We're still pending on the police report, Your Honor.
Okay, so now that you're representing yourself, then you'll have to ask for the discovery and get that information through the Solicitor General's office. If you just write a note saying that you wish to have discovery on this case, then you drop that off at the office or mail it to them, and she'll give you all of the discovery so that you can be ready for trial. Okay?
So I go to the courthouse?
Yeah, you can do that. On the 3rd floor, the Solicitor General's office, and you want to give them a handwritten note. You don't have to type it up or nothing. You can handwrite it. That says, I wish to have the discovery on case 2024 CR 02581. And then put your email address, your phone number, and your full address. And that way they can give it to you or tell you how best to get it.
Okay, and is there any way I could do that without showing up? Because I don't live anywhere like in that area.
You can contact the Solicitor General's office. So you would Google Clayton County Solicitor General, Charles Brooks. And if you call their office, they'll tell you who to contact to get that done.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Thomas, did you wish to do the traffic court now, the traffic offenses now?
I believe so. Yes, ma'am.
All right, so raise your right hand for me.
I'm not in the jurisdiction of a courthouse, ma'am.
Okay, the law has changed, which when under COVID, which allowed us to do hearings by video. So as long as you are on video with me in the virtual courtroom, you're under the jurisdiction and we can do the plea. Did you wish to continue?
No, ma'am, because I'm not under the jurisdiction. I'm in the video because I don't really know how to work this virtual courtroom setup yet. But if I need to exit video to further more speech that I'm not in a jurisdiction, I can exit the video, not the chat
Okay.
itself.
Are you entering a plea of not guilty for this offense also?
For which one?
For the traffic offenses?
No, man, that'll be a no-lo for.
No, we're not doing a no-lo. If you're not willing to do the no-lo by video, then we're not doing the plea right now. You've seen this. You've seen the people come from the jail calendar, and there was even one person in the courtroom. You've been here the whole time, so you've seen how this works. Like I said, I'm not playing your game. Either we do the plea the way everybody else has done it, or
This isn't a game. Like I don't even do court. Like I just happen to get stopped a few times in trucks that aren't mine, so I somehow get entangled with the police and the court system. But this isn't my field. But like I was saying, like it's definitely possible to do a no-lo. I'm just not under your jurisdiction. I'm representing my trust. Like I don't know what I'm supposed to like. I do my research. I see laws. I see common laws.
all right. Let's go back to the jail calendar. I'm not doing this today. My sinuses are bothering me. All right, next.
I'm just trying, wow.
Ms. Chang is waiting on Ratliff, so am I.
Ms. Ratliff, come stand right next to me, please, if you don't, bro.
You're before the court on a probation revocation. State of Georgia versus John Franklin Ratliff, 2023 CR 10853 for dangerous drugs sale and distribution and possession on the 2nd day of January 2024. You were sentenced to 10 months on probation. You served 60 days in confinement, and you have 5 months and 20 days on probation, and this is your second hearing. Your sentence was told because you failed to report. It says you failed to report on March 13th, April 9th, April 16th, and within 10 days of April 17th, 2024. And you last reported on February 14th of 2024. You failed to comply with a drug screen. You failed to attend AA or NA meetings 2 per week. You failed to complete your community service, 50 hours. You failed to pay. Mr. Ratliff, you had another relapse?
No, ma'am. I've been trying to take care of my mother. She's trying to keep her out of a nursing home. We've had a fire. We've had a lot of things happening since the time I was there before. It's a long walk. I don't have a family. Like the only person I have is my mother. I was getting ready to get married. Kind of have a fiance out there. I was getting ready to give her the ring the night I got picked up. I was just leaving dinner. I apologize for not showing up.
Mr. Franklin, I mean, Mr. Ratliff, while you out there romancing, you have been a year without seeing me. And so I don't know how you decided you just gonna go on with your life and just leave us in the dust.
Ma'am, I didn't mean any disrespect. To be honest with you, I've been straight, clean and sober. I've been trying to do the right thing. I went to take a drug screen and I've come up dirty that I wasn't even using drugs, and I don't understand how that happened. She said it was like a way high percentage. I'm not here to lie to you, ma'am. I'm under oath or anything. I really am trying to get my life together, and I have come a long ways. I'm not using drugs anymore, and I'm just trying to just move forward with my life. And I apologize. I didn't mean any disrespect. I stayed in the same residence.
Mr. Ratliff, let me explain something to you. And I say this to people all the time, and it's usually in the context of relationships, but it's in the context of everything.
Yes, ma'am.
If you have old business, you gotta complete your old business before you can start your new business. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
It is not fair for you to bring a fiance into this situation and marry somebody when you still got this stuff hanging over your head, because this stuff that's your stuff becomes her stuff.
Yes, ma'am.
You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So it's not fair. You just can't decide, you just don't ignore the fact that you got a jail sentence hanging over your head, and you have all these requirements that a court has already ordered you to do. And these aren't requirements that are punitive. These are requirements that are rehabilitative. These are the requirements that you get your life together, that you attend AA, that you take a class, that you get counseling if you need it. These are all things to help you, not me. Nobody else benefits from you going to AA.
Yes, ma'am. May I say
Nobody else benefits from you taking a class or you getting help to manage your addiction.
Yes, ma'am.
Nobody else benefits. So what I'm saying to you is you don't mess me up. You mess yourself up.
Yes, ma'am. I understand what you're saying. May I say one more thing too? I didn't mean any disrespect by speaking up, but
You can speak. I'm not taking this as disrespect, but I do want to understand how you felt like you could just ignore what was pending.
that's what I'm getting at. The state that I'm from originally is North Carolina, and in our state, if you don't get in any trouble or anything, when your probation's over with and you're on misdemeanor probation, it goes away. And I understood it. I didn't realize that didn't happen here. I figured if I went out and got in more trouble.
Yeah, that's not the way it works, sir, because if I give you conditions, you have to do those conditions. It's not that I put you on. So I know some states work like that. Like you're on probation. As long as you don't mess up, it's conditional.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
here, our probation is you're on probation and you have to do some things for me
Yes, ma'am.
in order to complete the sentence. Not we gonna hold it, and as long as you don't get in trouble, that's not the way it works. And so those are the reasons you meet with your probation officer, so you can ask those questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't just lean not to thine own understanding. The good book says that.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
I've learned my lesson, I'll assure you. This has not been the most pleasant place to be. And
It's not. There is no spa in the Clayton County Jail. All right, Mr. Lynch, what have you and Ms. Chang come up with?
Well, Judge, I believe Ms. Chang's recommendation was going to be.
Well, let me let her tell me. Ms. Chang, what's your recommendation?
Your Honor, probation recommends that 30 days be revoked. Close the case.
Thank you, ma'am.
And I would just ask the court to accept that.
Okay. Mr. Ratliff?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll accept Ms. Chang's recommendation.
Yes, ma'am.
You'll spend 30 days in jail. You'll receive credit since the date of lockup. Once you've completed the 30 days in the Clayton County Jail, then you'll be released and your case will be over. But let me just tell you something, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
If you want to be successful in life, you got to man up. You got to accept your responsibilities. You got to take care of the things that need to be taken care of before you can just forget about them and move on. Don't marry somebody and bring them into your foolishness. Clear up everything first. before you embark on this new situation. You understand?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Because you're just gonna set yourself up for failure. Women will understand a lot, but some things is a bridge too far.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and don't try and hide from whatever your issues are by running to a marriage. Because let me just tell you, marriage doesn't fix things. Marriage is where you go to be together and to love each other and weather the storms of life and support each other. But don't think that just because you get married, it's gonna fix all the wrong that's in your life.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. All right, so I'm going to accept the state's recommendation, the probation's recommendation of 30 days to serve, closed case. All right.
Should be.
What I said earlier. I said what I'm gonna say on that. I think you heard. I guess, can we do Mr. Morris next? Do we ever? Oh, they never located him? Okay. So Judge, we're ready on Mr. Tompkins.
Okay.
And on Morris, they seem to be having some trouble locating the inmate.
Ooh, that's not good.
I don't know.
You know, we still have Dixon, who has a plethora, I love that word, a plethora of cases. And then we have Tompkins, who we're about to do, and Jones, and Hardiman.
Wait, who?
Hardiman?
Oh, Judge, not in custody. He bonded out again.
Okay, so Hardiman's OTB.
Yes, I believe so, Judge. Yes.
Anybody else?
Jones, I think, as well, if I'm not mistaken, Judge. Jones is OTB. Hardiman's OTB.
Judge Hayward, that's all I have this morning, ma'am. Be excused.
Definitely, Ms. Chang. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Lynch, is this negotiated or non-negotiated?
Negotiated.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Tompkins, raise your right hand for me. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can put your hand down. You're before the court on state of Georgia versus Terrell Shante Tompkins for giving a false, criminal trespass count 1 and giving a false name, address, or date of birth counts 2 and 3. Would your client please the offenses before the court under case 2025 CR 00866, Mr. Lynch?
Judge, if the state has no objections, we'd ask the court to take fellow, please.
The state does.
You kind of let the state on this. You know how I feel about false name and address and date of birth.
Judge, we'll enter pleas of guilty.
All 3?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. All right, Mr. Tompkins, by entering a plea of guilty to counts 1, 2, and 3, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And Mr. Tompkins, if you are not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things, sir?
Ma'am, yes, ma'am.
Factual basis and recommendation, please.
Yes, Your Honor. On or about January 27th of 2025, Officer Ebony Gayman, Gayman, responded to 10358 Briar Bay Drive, Jonesboro, Georgia, 30238 Clayton County. This is also known as the Progress Residential Property. In reference to a property check, during her investigation, it was determined that the defendant did commit the offense of criminal trespass when he entered onto the incident location without permission from the rental manager. The defendant was observed inside the property, sleeping on the floor. Excuse me, the defendant was advised to provide proof of identification, but he could not provide it. The defendant did give a false name of Tommy, Tommy, Thomas, with a date of birth of February the 2nd of 1979. Officer Gaiman did check the information on GCIC, and that name did not match the defendant's identification photo. After asking the defendant several times to provide his correct name, date of birth, he finally gave his correct name of Tyrell Tompkins, date of birth 7/23/77. And those are and then the officer did check the defendant's information, the GCIC, and the photo did match. Those are the facts of the case. Your Honor, for count 1, 12 months to serve, 30 days, balance suspended. The defendant can get credit since the day of lockup. Count 2, a fine of $300 to be suspended. Count 3, a fine of $300 to be suspended as well. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Tompkins, what's going on? Why you on hard times and you squatting in apartments?
Well, I was in between homes and I have nowhere to go, but the person who moved out of the house was like, I could stay there until the people came to check on me.
Okay, yeah, that's still squatting. What's going on? How old are you, sir?
47, man.
Okay, what's going on in your life that you don't have any place to go at this stage?
I spent a lot of time in previous incarceration, and I lost everything during that previous incarceration.
Okay, do you have anybody that you can rely on to help you get to the next level?
Yes, ma'am.
Who's that?
My mother.
Oh, Lord. It's always a mama. Y'all will go out and kill off the world, just do crazy, stupid stuff, end up in prison, end up in jail, break your mama's heart. And then it's always a mama standing in the gap for you.
I understand, ma'am.
But please don't disappoint this woman any more than you already have.
Yes, ma'am.
Because all those times done stuff that have sent you to places, she was probably praying for you and stressing over you and worrying about you, and has probably on occasion put her house up for you. And you continued, oh, I'm right. You continue to do crazy stuff. I hope you are done now, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Because she only got so much more time on this earth, and she should have some of that time stress-free where she doesn't have to worry about you.
Ma'am, you're right, ma'am.
Can you give her that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'm going to accept your plea of guilty to counts 1, 2, and 3. I'll sentence you to 12 months to serve 30 days credit since the date of lockup. Balance will be suspended as you do not go back to the incident location. Count 2, $300 suspended. Count 3, $300 suspended will both run concurrent with count 1. And remember what I said, sir. Once you break down your mama, you have no one left. At least let that woman have some time on this earth where you are giving to her and not taking, where she is able to lay down at night stress-free for a minute. Just give her that.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Yes, ma'am. I can promise you that.
Yeah, I'm sure you've said that before, but you're 47 years old. You spent the majority of your adult life messing up.
Right, but this is the first time I've really been to this type of situation where I didn't have nowhere to go. I usually keep a job.
So you could press her down as long as you had someplace to go. But now that you have reached rock bottom, now you're gonna be a good son. Think about what you're saying to me.
No, that's not what I was trying to say. I'm sorry that you're taking it like that. I'm just saying it's just my mom has always been there for me. I'm her only kid. So at this point in time, the only reason I was squatting is because this is the first time in my life where I didn't have somewhere to go.
Where she got fed up and said no?
Yes.
Okay. And so she still means that. She's done. She's tired. She's tired. You are going to have to take that first step and do what is necessary to crawl out of this hole.
Yes, ma'am. Are there any programs that I can
What I'm gonna ask you to do is, before you leave the jail, check with the clerk, ask to speak to one of the chaplains at the jail. They usually have information about programs and services or who you need to talk to for when you walk out those doors, your first step. Don't go lay up on your mama, and use up all her electricity, as my grandmother would say, or continue to stress her out, because you need to take some steps on your own as a grown man to get yourself back on the path before you go stressing out your mama.
Yes, ma'am.
Give her some days where she can just lay down and sleep and rest. If you her only child, you the only person she got to worry about, give her some days where she might not have to worry about you.
Yes, ma'am.
Give her that.
Thank you.
All right, go check with the chaplain and they will give you whatever information they have access to.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. You can go back with the sheriff's office.
The clerk of state court, if you need any paperwork for it, if they don't give it to you on the way out, I don't have the paperwork for you now. Thank you.
All right, Dixon, Jones, Morris.
So, Jones is OTB.
I like Amy, man.
Morris, I believe they're still trying to locate him, but I am ready on Morris. For Dixon,
Ready on Dixon?
I need to verify one thing with Mr. Dixon, and then I have an announcement for you.
Do that, because if we can't find Morris, we'll put him over to the next week, but Dixon we got. Okay, I'll be right back.
Hold on, leave him right there.
Mr. Morris has pending, so
Okay, so. I think if we do the year, it would be 6 months for one case. 6 months, right? Correct. I'm not suggesting say that it's not.
You can't see if Dixon have a court upstairs for now?
I can't promise you any specific time, but it's 6 months every day or
No more, sorry, more. How about?
we got cases.
Jordan.
I do have an announcement on Mr. Dixon.
Yes, Mr. Lynch?
Judge, for today, we're going to be entering pleas of not guilty to all 3 cases. There's a lot to work through. I think he's coming up on another calendar for next week.
Do we need to take him off of next week's calendar?
No, Judge, because it's, well,
if this,
You got 3 more cases?
no, Judge.
No, it's a motion, so no, we do not need to take them off the counter for next week, Your Honor.
That's all I can answer. It's the state's motion
What's the motion?
to revoke his bond, Judge.
Okay,
But-
we're here next week.
Okay.
What, Mr.?
No, there's nothing else I need to add to that at this time. I'll speak to Ms. Hagler and see if there's anything else, but if not, we'll be ready to go forward with the motion or enter a plea on that day.
Okay. Yeah, Mr. Dixon is just the right candidate when I say a motion to revoke bond based on violation of bond condition. All righty. Next, if we can't find Morris, then I'm just gonna move him to the next calendar.
That's
I don't know
fine,
what's
Judge.
going on.
He's held on something else where we don't have any objection to that, not that it needs any sort of.
Okay, that is the last case. Mr. Morris will be reset to next week.
Yes, Mr.
And Your Honor, for clarity purposes, is Mr. Thomas's, is his traffic case being a not guilty as well? That way we know how to
Yep.
proceed on that one.
I'm gonna enter a not guilty on his behalf because I'm not doing the foolishness today.
Ma'am, I asked that I'm not pled, like you don't plead on my behalf. I don't call
Mr.
it.
Thomas, that's fine. You can ask me anything you want to ask, but I'm done. I'm not doing this. You say you want to enter a NOLO plea. I tell you how to do it. You've seen other
from the bench? Are you
you've
pleading
seen
for
other
me?
people do it, and you don't want to play the game. You don't want to follow the laws and the procedures as we have them. So I'm gonna do what I need to do, which is to enter a not guilty plea on your behalf. We'll put you on a trial calendar. Thank you, sir. You are done for today. All right, everybody. Thanks.
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to let you know I did send over a warrant and I sent over a termination order via email.
All right. I'm gonna be signing.